Excellent. Welcome, Laura. And you're all welcome to this audio event here on LinkedIn. I'm so grateful you're here. Right now, we're about 26 people listening and counting. You're welcome to this event. This is Web3 versus Web2 marketing. And of course, as I said in the description, we're all here to learn a lot of the things that make marketing in the Web3 space different from marketing in the Web2 space. I'm so happy to have all of you here, especially people from the 100 group. And I hope today promises to be an interesting listen. So, first of all, I want to do a quick vibe check, okay? I understand a lot of us are probably going to be from the Web3 space, but are there people that work outside of the Web3 space and the Web2 space? I'd like you to show me an emoji, um, a hand clap, a thumbs up, anything. If you work in the Web2 space, that's outside of the Web3 space. If you work outside of blockchain technology, outside of crypto, outside of NFTs and all, I'd like to know who you are. Oh, nice. Terrence, Jacob, Sahil, Emmanuel. Um, Emmanuel, I'd like to know why you're laughing. I think I'm going to call you to the stage. Okay, so first things first, I'd like to establish a few ground rules. I'm going to have a few people here on the stage, because I would want you to all share your feedback on everything that I'm saying, and most importantly, I would love you to ask questions as I continue, because what I would love the most is to um, continuously add value to you and also try to understand the problems that you're having in your Web3 marketing journey. So, are there people who would love to come to the stage? I'd like to pick two people for starters to come to the stage, not to speak, but to be here on the stage to have the opportunity to speak when I give the space to do so. So, are there two volunteers who would um, love to speak? I'd love to ask some questions when the opportunity presents itself. Any two people? Anyone? Or should I pick my favorites? I have a lot of favorites. Wonderful. Ivan, you are selected. Who else? There are so many people in here. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love you to ask questions, and I would love one more person. Okay, Adaize, welcome. Okay. Um, okay. Welcome to the stage, Adaize and Ivan. Thanks for volunteering to speak. So I'll try to kick things off pretty quickly. If you're just joining, you're welcome. And like I said, this audio event is going to talk about marketing in the Web3 space compared to marketing in the Web2 space. So I'm going to kick things off quickly, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. So my name is Elvis Kolawole. I'm primarily a marketer in the Web3 space. I've been doing digital marketing and content creation for the past 7 years, and for around the last 2 years, I decided to make a pivot into the Web3 space, because I definitely believe in the future of the Web3 space, and I want to build a career early here. And thankfully, I've been able to work with a lot of brands who have wanted me to do all sorts of things, everything from consulting work to content marketing to email marketing to social media to paid advertising and so much more. And I'm here to share a lot of my learnings along the way with you. And I would like to introduce my host, Laura Bolanos. Laura, I hope I didn't murder your name.
No, not at all. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Yeah, my name is Laura. I'm from Costa Rica, currently living in the beautiful Valencia, Spain. I have been working in Web3 for the past a little bit more than 3 years, and I'm a super big believer in the power of NFTs, Web3, blockchain. I think that this amazing world is creating exciting new opportunities for growth, for learning, and of course to do community building. And this is something that we are going to be discussing today here. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. And back to you, Elvis.
Okay. Thank you so much, Laura. We're going to get right into the meat of things, and we're going to talk about Web 3.0. But before I do that, I would like to do another quick vibe check. Okay. I asked previously how many people are here and are actually active in the Web 2 space outside of Web 3, and about three people raised their hands. So I'd like to have another check. How many people currently listening now, out of 33 or 30 of you listening right now, are currently either active in the Web3 space or you're looking to become active in the near future? I'd like to have your hands up, thumbs up. Oh, lovely. Okay, so that's Jamie, Angelo, Devon, Tululokbe, Ilya. Okay, Praise. Okay, Brad. All right. Daryl. Okay. I'm glad to know that a lot of you are interested in this space or you're already active in this space. It's okay. Ryan and the rest who would love to speak. I'm going to give more opportunities to speak. For now, I'm going to have just two people on the stage, and they're going to be the first ones to actually speak when it's time for me to do so. So let me begin. Let's begin with the basics. So, what's Web3 or Web 3.0? The best way for me to describe Web 3 is the next iteration of the internet, and that's the short version. And I would say definitely a lot of us will agree that Web 3.0 is the next iteration of the internet in which decentralization, autonomy, and smarter data processing will be prevalent. And a lot of the features we expect from Web 3.0, which is an ongoing concept that's not necessarily developed fully yet, is the fact that it's going to be decentralized, is going to be blockchain based, is going to be cryptocurrency enabled, and is going to be semantically organized. And one more thing also that people expect from Web3 is the fact that it's going to be autonomous, and that autonomy is going to be driven by artificial intelligence or AI. And for the purposes of what we're going to do today, I would like us to focus on a lot of the technologies or a lot of the creations that are going to be blockchain based and decentralized using blockchain technology. Now, I'm referring to NFTs. Um, I'm referring to smart contracts. I'm referring to metaverse applications that involve cryptocurrencies and pure crypto products. So that's what we're going to treat today. So to try and expand a little bit more on that, Web 3 was characterized by Web 1 was characterized by static pages. So around the 90s, when the first real massive scale adoption of the web really went on, there were only web pages where you could just read. You could read, and then that was pretty much all. You couldn't exactly do too much interaction with whatever you saw on the internet. And then Web 2 came, and then that was characterized by user generated content. And social media exploded. And then all of a sudden, you couldn't just read, you could also contribute to sites that you were reading from. You could contribute uh, video, you could contribute text, you could contribute images, you could contribute all sorts of media, and it was far more interactive than it was previously in Web 1.0. And I could say that Web 2.0 is still going very strong. Web 2.0 is something that we saw right after the proverbial dot-com bubble, and that happened right after the beginning of the 21st century. And that's what brought huge mega corporations we have today, the likes of Facebook, the likes of Amazon, the likes of even the much older companies, the likes of Apple, the likes of Microsoft. They really saw a significant boom during this Web 2.0 era. And that's definitely where we are today. But then in the near future, what we are building in this space called Web3 is a new iteration of the web. And the way we see Web3 is that it's going to be characterized by smarter applications that are autonomous, like I said, and they're going to be powered by AI. It's also going to be characterized by ownership of your own data. It's going to be characterized by ownership of your own digital assets, ownership of your own money, and ownership of your own identity. And yes, that ownership of identity is quite poignant, considering that there is a founder right here on this call who's working on a project that aims to do just that, which is making every one of us to have control of our identities online. And of course, something that is very central to the concept of Web3 is the fact that control of entities is always going to be decentralized. And of course, and that decentralization is going to be brought about through the blockchain. So, I want to know if everyone, had a feel for everything I just said. If you did, I'd love for you to give me a clap, just a very short clap, so that I'll know that you got a bit of what I'm saying. Okay, thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Devon. Thank you, Jatin. Thank you, Tolu. Okay, thank you so much. And yes, I've just gotten a question in the DMs. Don't worry, I'm going to answer a lot of questions. So, for starters, I want to try and clarify a few things. So right now, let me try to differentiate Web3 from Web2. I did say that, of course, Web2 was the beginning of lots of interactions between users and platforms, and then Web3 is the new iteration of the web in which is going to become more autonomous and everything is going to become far more decentralized. Despite that, there are a lot of similarities that Web3 and Web2 actually share even today. But I think Laura is going to touch a bit more on that. Right now, I'm going to touch on the differences, not just the basic differences between structures that we have in Web3 compared to Web2. I'm also going to talk a bit more on the marketing tactics. So first things first, I want to draw your attention to something. When you have a platform, for example, the platforms that you know and love, or the platforms that you know and trust, I'm talking about a platform that's developed online. Let's say your average social media platform, for example, say LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn right now, so LinkedIn is a perfect example. So whenever you have a startup that is web based, there are usually three parties you have to consider, right? You have to consider the owners of the platform or the developers of the platform. I put them in the same category. So there's the owners, then two, there are the users, the people who are going to actually use the platform, such as you and I. And then three, there are the investors, the people who tend to benefit monetarily from the success of these platforms. So I just mentioned the developers of the platform. I just mentioned the users of the platform, which are people like you and I. And I just mentioned the investors, which includes the likes of VCs, private equity, and all that. So these are three people, three separate types of parties we expect in any typical Web3, um, in any typical Web2 setting, in any typical Web2 app such as LinkedIn. Now, the biggest difference between Web3 and Web2, if I do not say any other thing in this entire event, I want you to take this home. The biggest difference between Web3 and Web2 is that while Web2 can have three separate entities who are the developers, who are the users, who are the investors, in Web3, you can have the very same entities being the developers, being the users, and being the investors. Now, let me repeat that again. The biggest difference between Web3 and Web2 is that while in Web2 you can have a different developer, you can have a different user, you can have a different investor. In the world of Web3, people can have either two or even three of these roles. There are many projects across the entire length and breadth of Web3 in which you have people who are developers of the platform or who are part owners of the platform. and you have those same people becoming users of the platform, and you also have those same people becoming investors in the platform. And okay, I'd like to give an example of a of say an NFT collection, of a popular NFT collection. Let me think of the most popular one I can think about. Okay, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example. So you have a lot of people who are the very first people to get themselves on the platform are people who eventually became part developers of the platform. They're of the NFT collections. They're the ones that actually decided the direction um, in which the collection was going to go. At the same time, these same people were investors. They were investors because they bought the first NFTs in the collection. And at the same time, these people are going to be users of the NFTs. These people are going to use some of their NFTs to get new tokens. Some of these people will use their NFTs to play games. Some of these people are going to use their NFTs to get loans and much more. So you have a scenario in which the roles of a developer, the roles of a user, and the roles of an investor are kind of really blurry. And then for you to actually build successful Web3 project, you have to consider the fact that you're trying to appeal to investors, you're trying to appeal to users, and you're trying to appeal to developers at the same damn time. And that's the reason why, it takes a special kind of mindset for you to have a successful Web3 platform. Whenever you want to do marketing, say for a Web2 platform, a lot of times you only think about the users. And so you try to optimize your marketing towards what users are going to do, or towards what users are going to experience. And the same thing goes for platforms in which your biggest customers actually your investors. And then there's also the same for developers, but then in this case you definitely want to try and please developers, you want to try and please users, and you want to try and please investors at the same time. So now, whenever you want to do your marketing, there are only two particular goals you're trying to get, and that's customer acquisition and customer engagement. In short, customer acquisition is trying to get people to try out your product, and customer engagement is trying to get people to perform tasks that could be beneficial to your business. So those are the two goals you should aim for. So let me stop here first. Did everyone get the things I said about the ways Web3 differs from Web2 and the two goals that marketing aims to solve? Did everyone get that? I see. I see. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Manuel. Thank you so much, Andrea. Thank you so much, Devon. Thank you so much, Thomas. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Okay, so I'm going to continue. Now, okay, so like I said, there are two major goals for marketing. That's customer acquisition and customer engagement. That's getting people to try out your product and then getting people to perform tasks that are beneficial to your business and loyalty to your brand. Now, in Web2, in order for you to try and do customer acquisition, or for you to try and get some customer engagement, you usually have to figure out three things. Number one, you have to figure out the target audience. Two, you always have to figure out product market fit. And then three, you have to figure out a sales strategy. These things are very basic. That finding out your target audience, finding out the product market fit, and finding out distribution. However, in the world of Web3, finding your target audience, finding your product market fit, and finding your distribution or sales is usually done using a lot of the same entities, and a lot of these activities are usually done through the community. So that's why the goal of customer acquisition and the goal of customer engagement usually comes in a different form. For Web3, especially a decentralized project, a project that is truly decentralized, the kinds of goals you're usually looking forward to are: number one, you're trying to find early backers or investors. That's people who actually believe in the project enough to actually invest in it, either by buying an NFT, buying a token, or something. And then, two, you're also trying to acquire the first users that are going to interact with your product and give feedback. And then, this product could either be an exchange, it could be an NFT collection, it could be so much more. But then, you need your first set of users who not only invest in the product, but then are willing to actually try the product and then give constructive feedback that could be used to build. And then, three, after you got your first users, you now have to build a community around the product that has been formed by by the feedback from the first users, and then you're going to build a community that's going to drive network effects. So I just mentioned three things. Now you're going to find early backers, you're going to find users that are going to interact with this product, and you're going to find community members that are going to drive network effects. So eventually, what does all this boil down to? It means that the first investors, the first people who actually try the product, and eventually the first people who are actually going to lure in other people to your projects to drive more value to your project are going to be your community. And that's why community is usually at the core of every marketing strategy or everything decentralized in the world of Web3. And this is because, like I just said before, the way that Web2 and Web3 companies are governed are very different. In Web3, the role of an owner, the role of a user, the role of an investor can definitely be held by the very same people. Sometimes one set of parties can be the owner and user. Sometimes one set of parties can be the user and investor. And that's the reason why the model for trying to set goals when it comes to marketing in Web3 is really different. So that's why for Web3, you first have to find your early backers, then you have to acquire users who are going to interact with your product and give feedback, and three, you're then going to acquire community members to drive network effects. So I'm going to run through the ways that are very popular within Web3 to do these three things. Now, when it comes to Web3, there are lots of marketing tactics that are also being used in Web2 to achieve these three goals. But then there are also some marketing tactics that are definitely native to the world of Web3 and are not necessarily used in the world of Web2. And the one particular tactic that's being used is token distribution. And the and what usually is different from project to project is how those tokens are being distributed and the kinds of tokens that are being distributed. Now you have to understand whenever we have
Oh, I think Elvis get drunk. Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me, guys? Let's see. All right. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Dario. Jaden, happy to have you. All right. Elvis is back.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sorry. I think I got kicked out for some reason. Sorry. Okay, so as I was saying, so something that's very native to Web3 is token distribution, and token distribution is a way to reward everyone else that is part of this project. Remember, I said that whenever you're doing marketing for Web3, you have to please owners, you have to please users, and you have to please investors at the same time. And this way, the token distribution is one of the, would I say, novel ways that Web3 marketers have found to make sure they're able to please users, they're able to please investors, and they're also able to please developers at the very same time. So there are different kinds of tokens that are distributed and different ways they're distributed. Now, there are personal tokens, there are fan tokens, there are community tokens, there are participation participation tokens, there are social platform tokens, and there are NFTs. And the way that people usually distribute these tokens are through NFT memberships or through airdrops. And these are two forms of distribution that are very common with Web3. I'm talking about the airdrop way of distribution and the membership model of distribution. And like I just said, the kinds of tokens that are distributed are social tokens, fan tokens, community tokens, NFTs, and different other kinds of tokens. Now, as I said, the goal for distributing these tokens this way is to try and please the owners or developers, to also please the users, and also to please the investors at the same time because of the unique model that Web3 projects are built on. And this token distribution is done on different stages to acquire, to engage, and to retain users. So now I will want to dive a little deeper into what to do when applying some of these tactics. But then I imagine I've already spoken a lot, so I'd like to first take some questions from Adaize and from Ivan. Then I'll move to Laura. I'd like to have some questions or whatever comments you might have, Ivan and Adaize.
Sure. Hello, can I speak?
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, first of all, thank you for uh, having me and letting me speak. Like I was really interested in this whole event, and I'll get to my question in a second. But I was interested because, like, I actually have a very different opinion. Again, I'm not gonna say that this is the gospel, this is the Bible,
Yeah.
but I actually think that Web2 and Web3 marketing is pretty much the same. It's just the technology has changed, right? And like listening to you right now, uh, I agree with most everything you say, but the conclusion, right? And what I'm was more interested and wanted to you to talk more about is actually the idea how the fact that the user, the investor, and the owner becomes a singular entity in Web3, and how this affects the marketing goals of Web3 project. Because from the way I see it, and again, I had some discussions of my own, and I also do like, well, I create content about it as well. And the idea was that, well, the goals of marketing has always been the same, be it 1000 years ago where marketing was in different forms, 100 years ago, or today. It's just that the technology changes. So again, like I'm really interested to know how does the fact that different entities becomes a singular one in Web3 changes the goals, and what those goals become as well. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Ivan. Something I would like to point out is the fact that I think I might have touched on that a little, but hey, I'll go right back. So what I said was that in the world, like I said, there are owners or there are developers, there are users, and there are investors, three different entities, and they exist this way in the world of Web2. And in the world of Web3, some people can have either two of these roles or they can have three of these roles. So that's why, like you did say, Web3 and Web2 marketing can be very, very similar because, like I did say, both of them do focus on customer acquisition and they also focus on customer engagement. Um, and anyway, there are so many other similarities between both of them. I think Laura is actually going to cover a lot of those similarities. I'm not going to do that here. But then what I will tell you is that with Web2, whenever you want to do marketing, you have to find out a target audience, you have to find out product market fit, and then you have to find out distribution and marketing strategy that is aligned with the target audience and the product market fit. And this is slightly different in purely Web3 products. And I say purely Web3 products because there are a lot of products in the Web3 space now, giant products. I'm not going to mention any names, perhaps Laura might, but there are a lot of products that are essentially centralized entities, but then they also participate in the Web3 universe because they are Web3 because of the fact that they deal with blockchain based assets, but they are effectively centralized. They have a centralized database of people who patronize them. They have a centralized audience, and the there's a clear differentiation between who an investor is. There is a clear differentiation between who a user is, an investor, and a and a developer actually is when it comes to these entities. But then I'm referring to entities that are fully decentralized, the ones that fully follow decentralization to the latter. So when it comes to these fully decentralized entities, they go ahead to find they do three things. One, like I said, they find early backers or investors. Two, they acquire users to interact with the product and give feedback. And three, they after they acquire the first users, they then try to build a community that is going to drive network effects. And they do these three things using a lot of incentivization and using the distribution of tokens in different strategic ways. And I'm saying that this is one of the ways in which it's done in completely decentralized, products. And there are lots of different ways. For example, the way DeFi projects are marketed are quite different from NFT collections because not each and every DeFi project, not each and every NFT collection is actually fully decentralized. There are lots of Web3 companies who we call Web3 giants today who actually do marketing through straight up funnels or flywheels. They simply put a whole bunch of people through a funnel, qualify them, and eventually convert these people. And this is traditional marketing. There is nothing wrong with that. It also happens in Web3 as well. But then it doesn't happen in Web3 where in Web3 project where like there are no clear leaders and where the community is effectively the leadership. I hope I kind of clarified something there, Ivan.
Yeah, well, no, I hear what you're saying, but like, uh, I don't know. I feel this like, uh, my disagreement lies with you. Well, let me put it this way: the way I see what Web3 is doing is what was before internet. Actually, it's again companies were brands, they were the communities. Sure, there was centralized leadership, but a lot of word of mouth marketing was used. A lot of this hearsay, a lot of more loyalty towards certain ideas or brands, especially. And then with the existence of internet and proliferation of data is when, well, first companies and then like anybody basically got the instruments to create funnels because they had the data and you could just, as you say, clarify them, drive them through a landing page or an ad and so on, right? But now with like Web3, I feel like we're a bit more free from this control. Well, like we as users, I have to say, are a bit more free from this control of the data, and we're going back more to how it used to be before. Yes, I get the decentralization aspect, but there's still somebody who is driving the marketing goals. So the owner, the creator of the Web3 project, even if it's a purely one, he will be the one who decides what the Web3 marketing goal is. And again, the goal is customer acquisition. Just you do it for tokenization and basically community marketing. That's kind of the way I see it. Because, like again, as I'm saying, I agree with what you're saying. I just see it, I guess, from a bit of a different point of view.
Agreed. Yeah, like I said, it's basically the same goals, and I think I'm going to drill some of these home a little bit. But then I would like other people to speak. Miss Adaize, can you speak? I'd like to hear what you think, or if you have any questions.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today. So, I have a question, not just one, but two. So,
Sure thing.
yeah, yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure thing. Sure thing.
Hello? Okay, good. So, looking at, I heard all you said. I'm so grateful because it answered majority of the questions I came here with. I joined this event for the questions that have been bothering me for a very long time now. Well, I have another question today, right? Now, I want to know, are there any regulatory or legal consideration unique to Web3 that businesses and users need to be aware of? Then the second question is this. For companies trying to transition from Web2 to Web3, what are there advantages or potential drawbacks for that transition from Web2 to Web3? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Daisy. I'll try to answer these as quickly as I can, because I'd like Laura to speak, and I'd also bring Emmanuel, or I'm going to bring other people on stage, but give me a sec. So for the very first question, if there are legal complications, of course, there are lots of legal complications with any novel technology, and it's definitely not different with the world of Web3 or blockchain technology. There are new legal implications that involve effectively decentralizing the control of an organization through an entity such as a DAO, or through smart contracts. When there's a smart contracts, that definitely brings questions of whether who is liable for whatever a smart contract executes, when that liability could possibly be incurred by more than one person. So I'm not a legal expert, so I'm not in position to actually answer that question accurately. But of course, like I said, there are significant legal considerations to be had whenever you're working in Web3. So I'll perhaps maybe there will be a different space for that. And secondly, you asked if you said something like for a brand that's trying to get into the Web3 space, is there some
Are
ways
there
in which they can succeed? I suppose.
like, some of the drawbacks as well?
Okay.
Disadvantages and advantages.
Okay, so some first advantages that come to mind is the fact that there is a chance for you to directly reward your users or reward your customers without the need for third parties. And there's also there is also the advantage of having your customers becoming your biggest promoters. Now, whenever you do a token distribution, or you release some tokens, whether they're NFTs, they're fan tokens, they're community tokens, you're able to give your customers a couple of things. You're able to give them partial control if that's your goal. You're also able to reward them. You're also able to reward their usage of your product in a way that's tangible to them, that's possibly tangible in a financial sense. And also you're also able to promote, and you're also able um, to extend some brand loyalty in a way that is arguably cheaper and doesn't involve lots of third parties. If for example, the likes of Starbucks wanted to the current Starbucks loyalty programs are loyalty programs that involve lots of third parties. They involve people in which gifts have to be redeemed. They involve companies that manufacture gifts. They involved payment processors that process transactions, and so many other different parties that make sure these loyalty programs actually work out. But then, if you want to make customer loyalty very simple, all you have to do is give them an NFT or give them a token gives them access to some sort of special experience. And then you can also leverage that token in order to make sure that they become referral. They can bring in new referrals for the business and help you grow your business, while also making sure that that NFT or that token is liquid enough for them to have some kind of financial incentive. Now, for the disadvantages, the main disadvantage, as far as I understand it, is the fact that a lot of people who decide to do these programs, or who decide to go into the Web3 space, do not go in for the long term. They do not have expansive roadmaps, and they're the kinds of brands who they're there to try just one thing, and then they eventually perhaps like drop whatever initiative they're doing if they see that it's not having enough traction. And they're the kinds of people who, maybe at the sight of just one controversy regarding NFTs or regarding a big company in the space, they're the types to abandon their roadmaps, abandon plans, and then it becomes ineffective. And then there is also the fact that they don't exactly employ a lot of professionals to execute these things, and that's why they end up making some costly technical failures. For example, say choosing the wrong blockchain, choosing the wrong ways to properly execute marketing strategy, whatever it is that involves these tokens. So I would say that it is the kind of space in which, if you don't exactly have people who know what they're doing, and if you don't have companies who are willing to also invest the time and invest the resources to know what works and what really doesn't work, and actually see to it that their roadmaps actually work out, you're not going to be successful. So I think that's really that, as far as I can see, for Web3 brands in the space. So thank you so much, Adaize, and thank you so much, Ivan. I have to go to Laura now. I think she has limited time with us, but I'll like Laura to speak. Um, I think more specifically on the similarities between both marketing in Web2 and marketing in Web3. So please, Laura, take the floor.
Thank you, Elvis. Well, yeah, I'm going to be talking about the similarities. And actually, I agree with you, Ivan, regards that the goals for marketing doesn't change a lot. What it changed is the way that we chase those goals and the way that we perform our strategies and tactics. And that's what I want to talk about it today. So I'm going to be talking about only five similarities between Web2 and Web3 marketing. Now, the first one is like the targeting specific audiences. This is something like marketing 101, and it's something that we should be doing in Web2, Web3, and Web 1000 infinity, aim at target specific audiences to maximize their reach and engagement, of course. So, for example, in Web2 marketing, this is achieved through techniques like demographic targeting on social media platforms. This is something that we are used to do every day. In Web3 marketing, the decentralized applications, dApps, can use blockchain-based user data to segment target specific of user groups. So, for example, if we're going to do a marketing campaign on Web2, let's say we're going to use Facebook ads to targeting options to reach young adults' interest in fitness. While in Web3, marketing campaign for decentralized fitness app might leverage blockchain user base profiles to target fitness enthusiasts who value privacy. That's actually the main difference. In Web2 we have all this information that people have been uploaded to the networks or to these platforms over the years, and in Web3 we have people that wants to get the information and wants to get the apps, for example, but at the same time they are like we not willing to become target of ads, so they just do blockchain based, right? So through let's say tokenization. So I'm going to buy a token, and then that company knows that I like that token, I like that topic, and they are going to target me with that topic only. So that's actually a benefit. And then, of course, number 2, we have the content creation and distribution. This is very similar in both, in Web2 and Web3 marketing. Both relies on the creation and distribution of valuable content to attract and engage users. In Web2 marketing, often involves creating blogs, videos, social media content, and more, to establish a brand presence and engage users. Similarly, in Web3 marketing, we both creating more like educational content, tutorials, and also interactive experiences on decentralized platforms to showcase the benefits of a specific blockchain-based product or service. So this is super similar. For example, something that I really like on Web3 is that we can create the content and also sell the content as token, for example, to our own base. Let's say there is a platform that is called mirror.xyz. So you write a piece of content and you can have that piece tokenized by the platform. That's not gonna cost you a penny, and your followers, or the people that is interested in your topic or your writing, can buy that piece from you. So in that way, they are like supporting you or supporting your art or supporting your writing, and that's pretty cool. Then number 3, the influencer marketing. Of course, we use it a lot. The great example of this is, for example, in Web3 marketing, influencers within the crypto and blockchain space can be tapped into the promote decentralized applications or blockchain-based project to their dedicated followers. So a really cool example of that is, for example, Nakamigos. I don't know if you're familiar with this project. It was an NFT project called Nakamigos, and they use this kind of marketing, no marketing, because they didn't say anything. They became quiet, but then they got this guy from an existing community that let them, let them like the 60% of their current users. So the hype and the speculation is something that we need to take into account in this in Web3, because in Web2 the speculation is not there, and of course the hype is something that exists. But in this world, in Web3, the speculation is something that is there, because we have people that are willing to buy your product or your service just to resell it, because the main activity will be like having some money, extra money from doing this, the flippers. That's why they call them. And then, of course, we have the social proof and the user reviews. This is something that is super similar in both Web2 and Web3 marketing. Why? Because the reviews and the social proof build trust and credibility, and this is something that is attainable to both worlds. What else? And then number 5, and this is my final similarity, is like the data analytics and optimization. Web2 and Web3 marketing both relies on data analytics and measure campaigns performance, and of course optimize strategies. In Web2 marketing, we have platforms like Google Analytics to provide value insights into the user behavior, demographics, conversion rates, etc. And then in Web3, we have blockchain analytics tools that can be used to gather data on user interactions, tokens transactions, or community engagement. And of course, this is going to enable marketers to analyze user behavior and optimize their marketing efforts accordingly, of course. Um, and yeah, well, it's important to note that while there are similarities between Web2 and Web3 in marketing, of course, the decentralized nature of Web3 brings unique opportunities and challenges, of course, that require specialized strategies and considerations. And then, yeah, that was my dissertation. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay, so I'd like, anyone that has new questions for Laura to raise their hands. So, I think Laura has a few minutes, but I would want to add something. I'd love, because we have just about 30 minutes or 40 minutes more. I would like to perhaps treat on a case by case and industry by industry basis, the kinds of tactics, or try to drill down a little more on the kinds of tactics that tend to work, perhaps for DeFi projects, for NFT projects, perhaps for layer one, layer twos. So, but then in the meantime, if there is anyone that has questions for Laura, I would really like you to raise your hand so that you can ask her. Or if you have questions for me, I would also love you to come on stage as well. So, is there anyone who has questions? We would really love to take your questions. Anyone? Okay, Ryan, welcome. Is there anyone? I'd love to see your hands.
I have a question. I don't know if I'm
Okay, okay, give me a sec. Give
okay.
give me a quick sec, Emmanuel. I'd like to know if there's anyone else so that I'll have, whoever wants to ask questions. Jacob, I think Jacob reached out via DM. Is there anyone else? Okay, okay, no problem. Mr. Emmanuel, please go on with your question.
Okay, thank you, Evans. Thank you, Laura, for this. It's so enlightening. I just came here to satisfy my curiosity about the Web3 versus Web2 because we've been in this space Web2 and literally everybody is there. But I want to what are we looking at? Is there anything against each other here, or Web3 is just helping Web2 to do more with in their marketing, or is it Web2 that is helping Web3? Because everything you just said, like the only thing difference here is the security that Web3 provides. So if marketing is not going too fine with Web2 because of there is no security, there is no trust, and maybe community are not built strong because of like things you mentioned, like giving them token and all those loyalties. But we have some of the things that we have done before with Web2. Like, yeah, there are loyalties we give out. When you give coupon, can coupon not also look like what you do to your customers on Web3? I just want to know the difference. It's not like a like what you said here, Web3 versus Web2. I don't think there is a versus here. It's to understand how Web3 can help Web2. Or of course, Web2 has been helping Web3 because they came first. So let's see how they help Web2 so that we can learn. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I got you. Actually, yes, there is no such a fight between Web 2 and Web 3. It's just the catchy title. It's just a catchy title over here. But the thing is that one thing that I can assure you is different between Web 2 and Web 3 is the community building. In Web3, the community is the most important thing that a project can have. And as you know, communities are not done in one night. Communities cannot be bought. There is no money that can get you to build a community in 2 days or in a week. So this is something that takes time, and usually what brands are doing in Web3 is that they are relying on the communities that are already exist inside the Web3 environment. So because in that way they can be they can rely in each other. Yeah, the community building is super important, and then it's like marketing is marketing. As Ivan was saying, the goal is the same one. The only thing is that we do some things different, but it's more like the way where when the technology allows us to do. But yeah, not everything needs to be tokenized, not everything needs to be on blockchain. But for example, some things that are making a really huge impact right now, is that, for example, you can give a coupon, as you said, you can give a discount coupon to anyone, one of your clients, and that clients will redeem that coupon, right? But in Web3, I can give my client a NFT that is going to give him access to an event. He can sell that token, for a profit, or he can keep it and go to the event. This is something that on Web2 there is not that common. There's not that common thing to do, but yeah. I hope I answered your question, Emmanuel.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Mm.
Else? Mr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan, I would like to hear your question.
Hey guys, thank you for having me on. So my question is this, right? Obviously, with the crypto community, some people are a bit funny when it comes to starting off on Web2 and then saying, okay, we're going to go to Web3. How do you initially build the trust where, okay, you've got your expansive roadmap, but you're starting off centralized, but the idea is to go decentralized in the future? How would you recommend going about that in terms of marketing?
That's a super interesting question, Mr. Ryan. Thank you very much. Actually, as I was saying before, it's time. It takes time. But for example, for the DAOs, the decentralized organizations, what they do is that, for example, one NFT is equal a token or a vote. I'm sorry, is equal a vote. So there is some part of that decentralized organization that is really decentralized, but there is another part that might be the founders, or might be a board, or might be I don't know, yeah, a member, yeah, a board that takes decisions, and then it gets you the options to choose to the community. But in that way is still a work in progress. I don't think that there is in the world a decentralized agency purely decentralized, because we still need leaders, inside of the communities. Some other communities do it by the people who gets more NFTs get more votes, by wave, and yeah, it's interesting. But right now, I'm not aware of a full decentralized, organization, a full decentralized organization. But yeah, I think it takes time. Is
Okay.
something that we're building. Yeah.
And then in regards to the trust, how does that come about? Especially where obviously everything's being obviously marketed as blockchain, and then as soon as you hear blockchain, you think decentralized. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you actually gain the trust in that sense when the message is almost saying it's decentral and it's no central body?
I get you. Yeah, I think that is not necessarily blockchain does not necessarily mean that you are going to get a vote. Might be that it's only a smart contract that is between you and another party, uh, in order to do business, and then the smart contract is going to get your dates of payment, for example. And as the smart contract is code, that's something that is going to be delivered on time. um, but I think that is matter of education. We need to educate a lot. We need to take, because blockchain is not equal crypto. This is something that is super important to mention. Not every time that we talk about blockchain, we are talking about crypto or cryptocurrencies or NFTs. So it depends on the project and depends on what you want to do with that. And yeah, the trust is built with time, and is built with yeah, with time and with a lot of effort and education. Of course, we have been seeing those huge exchange crumble, because people trust them with their money, and they fail them. um but yeah, I think that is time. And of course, I cannot repeat this anymore. You need to do your own research first, before you put money into the hands of strangers. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So, you mind if I add something here? So, when it comes to trust, right? Something you mentioned, for example, if I'm a Web2 brand, sorry, yeah, a Web2 brand, legacy Web2 brand, and I do not necessarily have the trust of a community to do what I say I'm going to do, or perhaps I simply have a community that doesn't know anything about the blockchain, knows nothing about crypto. The easy way for me to make this transition is twofold. One, I would want to leverage on a community of people that already has the trust of someone, and that's where the idea of key opinion leaders, or KOLs, or influencers, whatever you want to call them, are comes through. So these key opinion leaders, they already have the trust of a particular community of people who are enthusiasts for cryptocurrencies, for NFTs, for blockchain based technologies. And these people will listen whenever their leader, literally a key opinion leader, speaks about dash 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 legacy brand wanting to enter into the Web3 space via NFTs, via token distribution, whatever. They will listen and they will follow the lead. And this is also great because these people, you can treat them as warm leads. In traditional marketing, there is what we call cold leads, people that know nothing about you or whatever you're selling. And then there are people you call warm leads, people that perhaps they might have an idea of the business, or they might already have a need for the service that you have, and they just don't know you exist yet, or they know you exist but they're not just ready to buy yet. So that's why it's important. So that's why a lot of the biggest brands in the world, whenever they want to get into the Web3 space, they leverage key opinion leaders. And then two, aside from the key opinion leaders, something else that happens whenever Web3 brands want to, sorry, whenever Web2 brands want to get into Web3, and they need to gather the trust of people, is they definitely have to do three things. They have to communicate clearly, and whenever they're communicating clearly, a lot of their communication is going to focus on educating these people, and not just educating every single part of their audience. They're always going to target a specific cohort of users. They're always going to target people who are very well engaged with their experiments. If you worked, in Web2 marketing, you know that you always run experiments, you always run promotions, the kinds of people who are willing to take a chance on a new technology or a new promotion or a new thing you're going to introduce to them, because you already have the trust of those set of users. Those are the sets of users that you're going to communicate to, and those are the sets of users you're going to educate, and eventually earn their trust. And then, of course, have the co sign of people who are key opinion leaders in Web3 space to help amplify your message and reach more communities. I hope this is clear to you, Ryan.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you very much, Elvis. Thank you for elaborating. I appreciate that a lot.
All right, Elvis, people in the room, thank you very much. I have to go now, but I leave you with Elvis.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this afternoon with us. I hope to see you soon, very soon, in another um, LinkedIn out event. And then, yeah, let's connect. Just send me over your invitation, and I will accept you into my network because it would be amazing to have such a beautiful people like you on my network. So thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Adios, Laura. Okay.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. So for the rest who are still here, I absolutely would want to hear many more questions from you all. Like somebody in the 100 group said, it's not the marketing in Web3 space. There's no one size fits all approach. It's all like an iterative process where we analyze, a lot of situations on a case by case basis. The case in which Ryan brought, which is a Web2 brand trying to get into Web3, is completely different from somebody who is trying to get a decentralized ownership structure from the ground. It's also very different from someone who sets up a business that is kind of centralized but is meant to sell decentralized assets. I mean, by nature, an asset like say Monero or Bitcoin is actually decentralized, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the entities that enable you to buy Bitcoin are not centralized themselves. These entities, a lot of the time, employ traditional marketing methods. They apply referral campaigns. They do content marketing. They do paid advertising. They use influencers. All of that, and that's because their own situation is different. So they have a bit of a different marketing mix. So that's why I would love to treat a lot of things on a case by case basis. We have only 30 minutes, so there is no way for me to cover every single tactic that's being used out there. But then, if I can have an idea of where your pain points are, and um and the kinds of things you're trying to find out about the Web3 marketing space, especially when it compares to Web2, I believe I can be of help. Welcome, Giovanni, my friend. What's up, man?
What's up? What's up, Elvis? Did you hear me fine, my friend?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you, my man.
Great, great, man. I'm glad I was able to connect here. Hello to everyone here in the room. Oh, unfortunately, Ryan left. I was actually gonna talk to him. I guess. Well, I'll still say what I'm gonna say, but I was going to talk on what he actually asked. But great to see you, Elvis, and to be able to connect. I had some issues with connection on the desktop, but thankfully here on the app was able to get a hold of you and come up. But I love the space topic of like Web 2 versus Web 3 marketing. I've spoken about it before. For those who don't know me, I'm actually Puerto Rican, raised in Chicago, and now living in Puerto Rico for the past 15 years. And it's great. I've been connecting with Elvis and other individuals in the space, and glad that to see so many people interested in this topic here. Really quickly, Elvis, to get to the point, to respect everybody's time, because I know you were kind of closing it out. Hi to Salem and Emmanuel, who are here up here as speakers as well. Well, Ryan's question on building trust, what first came to my mind was a post that I shared recently on what I call the refined brand messaging. Because I think the first step to what he said about building trust, in my opinion, is focusing on the communication aspect first. So I think that's the first step, is having a refined brand messaging, which means it's a messaging that actually cuts through the noise that we know exists digitally. And if you don't do that, if you notice some of the more bigger Web 2 legacy brands like you mentioned, as they grow and scale, their messaging becomes more broad to then apply to a larger audience. Whereas in Web3, it's the opposite focus that I've seen that works, which is you have to penetrate noise, and you have to the audience and the community you want to reach has to really identify immediately as you communicate consistently a consistent message, that to feel like you're talking to them specifically, and that what you're doing is aligning with their values and what they believe in, and what they want to support. And I think that's the first part of the equation. Unfortunately, he left, but I would have loved to hear his feedback, because that's what I've seen work. That first part, getting the messaging correct. And then the second part, I would say we're seeing it as technology continues to evolve. Especially the topic of the week has been Apple, right? And how they've launched the Vision Pro, etc. That's showing, spatial computing, VR, AR. That's showing us that we're moving in the direction of the capacity to create spaces. And that's the next step, I think, in building trust, is as a brand, how are you going to create spaces where your community comes together to collaborate, exchange ideas, and where you can then demonstrate uh, that the values that you represent. And then as you demonstrate that through events, be it in person, be it in digital format, which I think is going to increase as we see technology continue to evolve as it is, as we can already see, like I said again, what was Apple is launching, I think is the genesis of more virtual experiences, more augmented reality experiences, and brands looking to leverage that to create very unique experiences where people, even if they're separated physically, the community can now come together under an event that's in a virtual digital format, and now we can still share ideas, we can still communicate, and we can still foster community growth through those experiences. So I think creating spaces, be it physical or digital, where your community can thrive off of each other, can foster collaboration, I believe that is the key to building trust, as this space continues to grow. But that's my 2 cents. And yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to speak, Elvis. Keep it up with these audio events. I usually this is all inspiring me to really get onto audio events. I'm a Spanish content creator on Twitter, so a lot of my content has been Twitter Spaces, which has been great, and I've been fortunate to foster a strong community in Latin and Spanish. But I think I'm definitely aiming for now these LinkedIn audio events, because I've loved the experience with Twitter Spaces, etc., and I've seen the growth and how it's impacted the community via Twitter. And I think audio events here on LinkedIn is very similar. So I'm excited for that. And thank you, Elvis, again. Great space and great event. You there, Elvis? I'm not sure if it's me that's then having
No,
issues.
it's not just you.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
okay. Now you're
Oh,
good to go,
sorry.
Elvis. Now we hear you. Now we hear you. No problem, my friend. You're good.
Elvis,
You
Elvis
Sorry,
is
came out
just
of
the
man.
came out
beginning.
of the black hole of the metaverse. You've come out. Yes.
Yeah, my man. Okay, sure. Okay, so Rivana, Tolulokbe, Praise, Abdul, Roberto, Alex, Uchenna, Taiwo, Dami, Oladimeji, Brad. I really want to have you up here. I'm very sure you have, more questions about, Web3 as regards different verticals, because there's absolutely no way. There are lots of things I would have loved to cover. I would have wanted to cover referrals. I wanted to cover developer grants for blockchains, trading incentives, even memes, airdrops, all that. But then there's only so much I can cover. So I would like to know, what are your pain points within the Web3 marketing space? I would really love you all to come on to speak. So before you come on, I'd like to hear from Salim. So okay, thank you. Salim, please take the floor.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thank you so much, Elvis. And yeah, I think that the core difference in Web 2 versus Web 3 is like the community. You know, it's like without the community, and as well as, you know, like the product, you know, like the decentralization and the transparency. But I think that even, you know, like the decentralization is about the people, is about the community. So, you know, like the community has like two parts, you know, like the technical part and the non-technical part. Like it's like developing products and projects that people love and people can gather around. I mean, it's like, it's like developing your own tribe, if you know what I mean. And, like the gamification and the incentive stuff and all that are like just, like tools, to increase the engagement and to make people, like co-owners of the products and all that. So yeah, these are my 2 cents about it.
Okay. So I think I would want to add a few things. I suppose I probably should have said. So I want to add a bit of a trick, right? Remember I said something when it comes to decentralized startups or decentralized entities that are trying to do marketing with three. A lot of the things they start with is trying to incentivize engagement or incentivize, actions that are going to benefit the business. So, of course, and that's really done through token distribution a lot of times, and that could involve NFTs. It could involve community tokens. It could involve community tokens. It could involve so much more. And these things are usually crucial because the investors tend to be, almost not totally, but almost the same people. So something that a lot of new brands do, which I would say is a black hat tactic. I'm not saying you should all try this. I'm not saying you should try this, but this is a tactic that a lot of people use. So you can take this to the bank. So a lot of people, whenever, for example, your brand, say for example, you have a shoewear brand. Say you're Nike, for example, and okay, Nike is a bad example. Say for example, I have a shoewear brand and I want to bring my shoewear brand into the Web3 realm. And the way that I would like to bring people into the Web3 realm is to distribute tokens either through an airdrop or perhaps to provide a community token in order to build a DAO that is, in fact, eventually going to inform other community activities. So the first thing I'll do to try to make this work is, of course, number one, I'll create the actual token. These days, it takes like a few minutes to do that. You can create, on any blockchain. And then two, because of the nature of the blockchain, you can see the addresses that your competitors distributed blockchains to. So, for example, I can go on, say, the Ethereum blockchain or the Polygon blockchain, for example, and I can do a manual track. Or no, I can use a tool to find out the users who were part of the last airdrop by Nike, the people who were part of the last NFT cloth airdrop by Reebok, the people who were part of the last airdrop by Gucci, people who have shown an affinity to collect NFTs or collect new tokens that are dropped by luxury fashion brands. And then, of course, I'll identify those people as my target audience. And then what I'll do is that I will use tools after scraping up those addresses. I'll use some tools to first of all send one token to them, which would be more like a token of, hey, I know you exist, I know you're one of my people. And then I'll use other tools to cross-reference some of their wallet data with readily available information on the web. And a lot of this information is usually, unfortunately, in centralized sources. I'm talking from from your name, it's very possible that you can cross-reference, with available databases of, say, exchanges that exist out there. You can find out full names, and some of them you can even find out other, personal info such as addresses, such as email addresses, locations, much more. And then from this, you can create targeted campaigns via social media, via email marketing, via other avenues, and you can use these avenues to reach out to these new people who you are very sure have real affinity towards collecting NFTs or collecting tokens from new legacy Web2 brands who are trying to venture into the world of Web3. So this is just what I say one of the sneaky ways. Of course, you have to do all the other standard stuff. You have to educate the core set of users who are down to experiment with you, who are very trusting of you, and are usually looking forward to new promotions from your brand. And you have to, of course, educate these people, communicate clearly the um, the benefits of being a part of your journey into the Web3 space. And of course, you have to enlist the help of KOLs, influencers, and other collaborators that are going to also co sign your message and also amplify to their own communities as well in order to build trust. So I would say this is just one of the ways that it's done in this space. It's somewhat black hat, but it's one of the ways that a lot of people really do these things. And I would like to still have many more. I'd like to have many more people come on here and ask more questions as regards their own particular subsection of Web3 space. I can see Mr. Harrison, I can see Mr. Ernesto, I can see Albert, I can see Joy. Um, I would like to know if there is anyone with any more questions right before I close the space, because we're like a few minutes away from closing. So, is there anyone else who would like to come to the floor? Is there anyone else? I see. Okay. Okay. I see we're all satisfied. Okay. Ernesto, would you like to come on? Or okay. Um okay. Um Ernest, okay. I guess that's a thumbs up. Hi Maria, welcome. Hi Mark, welcome. Okay. I see Ryan is trying to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak, to express their thoughts, or perhaps to ask a question regarding marketing in the Web3 space, especially? Okay, welcome, Harrison. Ryan, please speak.
So Elvis, do you know what? As you've just mentioned about the blockchain marketing tactics, my head just exploded. I didn't realize you could do all that. Can you elaborate? Are these common tools, or is this, like you said, black hat? Just give me
It's
some
it's
basic understanding.
absolutely black hat. It's absolutely black hat. And the reason is that of course, like I just said, the blockchain is a place where wallet addresses are readily available, and this is the thing. This is the thing where a lot of the biggest brands tend to employ agencies who have developed tools simply to scrape the wallet addresses of competitors because they know that they're more likely to accept new tokens, and then they're going to cross-reference those wallet addresses with personal details, and those personal details are going to be used to create tailor-made marketing campaigns on traditional Web2 platforms such as Twitter, whatever social media platforms, whether it's Reddit, wherever. And they will either do that or they will simply deposit one token after the other. And that token could be a non fungible token, such as an NFT. It could be a community token. It could be a fan token. Or, it could be one after the other. First, an NFT. Secondly, a social token, which functions as the main engagement token, which is going to incentivize community engagement. So, that's something a lot of people do. But I'm just saying saying this, as industry secrets. So yeah, it's a thing people do. So yeah.
No, thank you. Because honestly, I was just sitting here thinking to myself, oh my days, I didn't realize you could do so much with it. Obviously, I'm just thinking about Web2 marketing, obviously, like socials or Google. This type of
Yeah.
stuff, this is whole next level, but this is the information that we need. So I really appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Harrison, please, you can speak.
Yeah, confirm that you can hear me clearly.
I can hear you well. I can hear you very well.
Right, good. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any question or any major contribution. I mean, I'm just excited to know that we're still keeping the Web3 marketing and the broader Web3 conversations alive, because I was so sure that Web3 wasn't going to survive the new year. But with the middle of 2020, I mean, coming from where I was coming from, but when the middle of 2023, and um, we're seeing a lot of builders still coming into the space. I mean, we're like 80 something percent um, VC funding down from last year. So just exciting to see people that do what I do, that is Web3 marketing. I'm still keeping the conversations alive. I'm so happy that builders are still coming into Web3. I mean, if you follow what has been going on with Solana, you see that a lot of the last hackathon, for example, had a considerable number of Africans applying for it. And I mean, it was super exciting for me. Also, global brands are still coming into Web3. Those that sort of came into Web3 last year are still trying to find ways to sort of expand the strategy that they already have. I mean, so summarily, I'm just happy that we're still here. I'm so happy that we're still killing it and trying to kill it one step at a time. So
I
yeah,
understand. Yeah, everyone. For those who are looking for some context, I just had a look at his profile. He's an ex FTX employee, so he knows what he's saying. Like it's from
yes,
personal experience. So so yeah, I completely understand. So definitely, thank you so much, Harrison. Thank you so much, everyone who's been here. We started at about 33 people, and people have come and gone, but I appreciate all of you who are still here. And at some point, I'm going to chop up some sound bites from this very session, and I'm going to distribute via my social media. I'm going to distribute via LinkedIn as well. And also, if you would love to join a very poignant community of doers, I would encourage you all to join the 100 community. I happen to be a core member, as well as so many other people on this call. So the 100 community is a group that's founded by Zach Darius, one of the foremost um, Web3 leaders here on LinkedIn. And then what we do here is we're a community that serves as so many things. We engage with each other's posts. We encourage each other. We are the emotional support. We make sure that conversations stay alive. We make sure that conversations, especially around Web3, stay alive, and that the conversation is not dead, and that we continue to support each other in every aspect of our professional lives, and we continue to be there for each other. So if you would love to become a part of the 100 community, by all means, I would like you to go to my profile. Perhaps you can see the 100 community there, and you can join us and you can become a part of our conversations daily. You can engage with each and every one of us, and we can continue to build in this space and continue to make sure we all grow. So I thank you so much for joining this session, and I look forward to inviting each and every one of you to the very next one. Thank you so much. Bye.